Hi, this is Kelley Wright at the Money Show in Dallas, and with me today is Mr. John Vandermosten. John, we just had this great off-camera talk.
We're talking about cancer drugs.
We're talking about cancer drugs, but in your area of the small cap biotech, there's a lot going on. There's a lot of exciting stuff, particularly, look, cancer has not been defeated. There's still a lot of different types of cancers out there.
We've made progress, though.
We have made progress, but why don't we talk about, in your view, in your experience, of what's the more exciting area?
So one area that's really been big in the last 7 or 8 years has been checkpoint inhibitors.
Okay.
Keytruda is one drug in that area, and probably most people will recognize that from what Jimmy Carter was cured from about 5 years ago or so. It worked well in him, and checkpoint inhibitors work in about 20% of the people. They work very well. These people are cured. There's still a big proportion that it does not work in, but we're making progress. And I thought I'd just explain a little bit how they work.
Absolutely. So help us out.
It's actually pretty exciting, and I'm simplifying it quite a bit. Even I don't understand all the extreme details. But let's say this is an immune cell, one of the body's immune cells, and this is a cancer cell. Normally, the body's immune cells will sniff out bad cells in the body, and they'll just they'll kill them. They'll go through this thing called.
And that's a natural process of the body.
It's a natural process. That's why we don't have cancer, because our body is fighting it all the time. There are probably cancerous cells in all of us, but our body is able to get rid of them. So what happens sometimes is the cancer cells stick out this receptor, and the immune cell over here is like sniffing at the receptor, and it says, "I'm okay." It's like a mask, like a Halloween mask or something. It's hiding. It pretends it's something that it's not.
Now, is that an evolution, or has cancer cells?
So I believe the cancer cells have evolved to have this receptor that says, "I am part of your body. I am not a problem." Right? Okay. So what the checkpoint inhibitors do is they inhibit either this receptor on the cancer cell or this receptor on the immune cell from connecting and sending that message that this cancer cell is okay. And if that is eliminated, in many cases, well, I just said 20%, the immune cell can actually come in and finally kill it because it recognizes it.
So that's really interesting that cancer cells are evolving. Now, would that be because of developments in treatment? That are they getting smarter, or is this just an accident?
That is a great question. There are many cases where a cancer therapy will be used, and it'll kill the cancer initially, but there are other parts of the cancer that actually start to propagate again, and they grow and it comes back. So that's, they call it, if you have a recurrence of cancer, if it comes back, a lot of times it won't be the same cancer cells that you killed the first time. It'll be a different kind of the cancer that comes back and grows because you didn't kill it all.
See, I have some
so it evolves.
Yeah, I have some sensitivity to this, and what brings this up, because in 1984 I lost a sister to acute leukemia. She had received treatment, chemotherapy, went into remission, and almost a year to the day had a recurrence, and it got her the second time around. So this whole concept of the cells becoming smarter and evolving, it really makes a lot of sense to me then.
And that brings up an interesting point. And one of the trends now in immuno-oncology is to use combination therapies, right? Okay. And this is using many types of drugs. Sometimes they combine chemotherapy with checkpoints. You could also use oncolytic viruses. You could use cancer vaccines, and you're kind of coming at it from many different directions, and you're killing all those different types of cancer cells. Okay. And it's much more effective when you're doing that. And early trials have shown a much higher degree of efficacy of combination therapies in cancer.
So the whole approach to treating cancer, clearly it's evolving as well, because every day we learn more and more and more how the body works, how the cells interact. This is an exciting field then. You're on the cutting edge of a lot of really important work that's being done to help people extend their lives and live longer and healthier and happier lives.
Yeah. These companies are doing great work, and not all of them are going to make it, but a lot of them will. And I think on the investor side of things, for investors who find these companies that are able to literally find a cure for cancer, they'll see some pretty good returns and help people.
Well, let's do this then. Let's give me a couple of companies that you're watching that are doing some of this research.
Sure. Well, I'll give you one example of a company that's working on a checkpoint inhibitor. We probably know Opdivo and Keytruda. Those are the big names out there right now in checkpoint inhibitors. But there's also another smaller company called Checkpoint Therapeutics, and they are.
I know that name.
Oh, you do? Okay. Yeah. They're based out of New York. They're actually coming up with a checkpoint as well, which should work just as well as the ones that are out there. And one of their strategies is actually to come in with a recognized mechanism of action, which is the way the checkpoints work. Mechanism of action just means that's how they work. And actually come in at a lower price point, which is great for patients because it's much more accessible. Right now, checkpoints are around $150,000 per treatment. Very expensive. It's covered by insurance in a lot of cases, but it's still very expensive.
What about Medicare?
I think it's covered by that as well.
Wow. Okay.
But don't quote me on that.
Okay. Sure.
But if there are competitors that come in, like Checkpoint Therapeutics, with a really great drug, and they come in at a lower price point, it just means better things for cancer patients.
Well, competition, it doesn't matter what the industry is. Competition usually results in more access, lower prices.
That's very true. And we haven't historically seen that so much in the healthcare space. I mean,
well, you have patents and you have protections.
Correct.
Because look,
Correct.
I mean, historically, what's it cost to take a treatment from inception to market to profitability?
Yeah, well, I mean, first of all, it takes about 15 years from going to the lab to FDA approval. I mean, you have to go through, animal studies, you have to do test tube studies, and you have to do human studies, phase 1, 2, 3.
Right.
15 years a lot of times. And, depending on the class of drug, it can be up to billions of dollars, especially in the later stages when you have large trials, which include thousands of people. Each one of those individuals, their treatment for them and all that is very expensive. So, we're talking billions of dollars to get a drug to final approval. And
so then for the average investor who says, my God, the cost of pharmaceuticals is just through the roof. It's unconscionable. It's really not. This is the world, and this is what it costs.
Sure. A lot of the cost goes to drugs that fail. Investors, when they put their money in, they realize that not all of these are going to work, and I have to make up for my losses by a 3-bagger or a 4-bagger over here.
Sure.
And that's one of the reasons why that incentive has to be there to come up with new drugs.
This is fascinating. I can do this with you all day long.
Me too.
All right.
Bring the drinks.
There you go. This is John Vandermosten. I'm Kelley Wright at the Money Show in Dallas. Thanks for joining us.